Howdy doody. Today we're going to describe and test 3 hiking superstitions, or things that if you do while hiking will either have an extremely positive or negative impact on your day. From unintentional acts that could lure out ghastly creatures to folklore that keeps you safe. Stay tuned for this one if you're planning on going for a walk in the woods. Number 1 is whistling in the woods. Across the globe, whistling in the woods is a taboo that's said to invite danger. In Mexico, this is said to invite a witch that appears in the form of an owl. Arab mythology says that whistling in the woods at night attracts jinns. The Chinese believe it invites ghosts. The Japanese thinks it attracts thieves and demons. Hawaiians believe it invites night marchers, and so on. North America, where I live, is not immune from this folklore either. And Native Americans believe that whistling would attract a wide range of misfortune, including attracting cannibals, Sasquatch-like giants, and generally bad luck. And perhaps if you believe tales of sensational TikTokers and frequenters on Reddit No Sleep, your whistles might even attract the infamous Wendigo. Since I'm out here testing urban legends, I thought I'd give this infamous legend a go by whistling while I hiked through the woods. Howdy y'all. Forever story time here. I think this is the first time I've ever actually brought a camera out into the world with me on this channel. But the first urban legend we're going to be testing is whether or not, or more like how you shouldn't, whistle in the woods. So here I go. Alright, well, that was about 2 minutes of whistling. Let's check around me. Nothing seems to be stalking me, at least nothing I can see. You know, if it's, they say it's some TikTokers say it's a Wendigo gets you if you're whistling in the woods. So I guess I wouldn't notice if that was creeping up on me, based on what I've heard, but didn't seem to get me. Number 2 is don't wear red. This urban legend stems from the many mysterious and sudden disappearances of folks in the woods of North America who were all wearing red. I heard about this folklore while living in the Northeast, where there have been many disappearances of people wearing red in Vermont's Bennington Triangle, basically its own miniature Bermuda Triangle. For example, Paula Welden was an 18-year-old woman who embarked on a hike down Vermont's Long Trail after a day of work in December of 1946, disappearing and never being seen again. One of her last known sightings was by a group of hikers finishing the hike that she was starting, and these hikers recalled that she was wearing a bright red coat. In 1950, also in the Bennington Triangle, one 8-year-old Paul Jepson disappeared from his family's pickup truck after being left alone for about an hour while wearing a red coat in the car. Again, he was never found. Additionally, not in the Bennington Triangle, there was the disappearance of Dennis Lloyd Martin. This young boy of 6 years of age went out camping with his family on Father's Day weekend of 1969 near the Appalachian Trail. The story goes that basically Dennis and his brothers were planning to prank the rest of the family, but in the midst of this, Dennis vanished into thin air, spurring on the biggest manhunt in Smoky Mountains history. Now, a lot of folks that cover this disappearance missed this, probably because it doesn't really matter, but Dennis was last seen wearing a red shirt. Now, I'm going to test this urban legend by putting on a red hat and, I guess, just walking through the woods for a few minutes and seeing what happens. Alright, red hat is on. Off we go. You know, it would probably help if I were further out into the woods testing this. I am probably between a couple neighborhoods right now. You can see their lights in the distance. But I am still fairly secluded, so something could definitely snag me out here and people wouldn't hear it from their homes. But I'll give this a few minutes. Man,
Man, I think I saw more wildlife before I started whistling and put on red. For maybe it's like Repel in Pokemon, where you only get the dangerous creatures when you do this. Who knows? Getting it.
Our third hiking superstition is that you should keep rocks in your pocket while hiking. Some also say that sticks apply here. Now, this urban legend isn't like the others. It isn't something you shouldn't do, but rather it's something you probably should do. In short, old superstitions say that fairies and other magical entities that dwell in the woods will sometimes gloss over rivers to make them look like roads or paths, or will occasionally get someone lost in the woods in some sort of fantasy world or confuse them, keeping them lost in the woods forever. To counter these forces, it's said that you can do a few things though. One, if you're unsure about a road ahead of you, and you think it might be a river in disguise, you can just throw a rock at it, and it will tell you for certain. Which is why you should always keep some rocks or sticks in your pocket. If fairies get you lost in the woods, on the other hand, it's said that you can do one of a few things. One of these things is to walk backwards. Another is to turn your torso upside down and look between your legs at an upside down world. This action is said to free you from the forces keeping you lost in the woods. Now, while this is all superstition, some superstition has actual factual and useful roots, and it's thought that in the past, wary hikers that got confused from exhaustion would use these methods to confirm that they were on the right track and so that they wouldn't fall into still bodies of water or remain lost in the woods.
What this last urban legend says is that you should carry rocks or sticks or something in your pocket so that when you come across a trail or road, you can throw them on it and know whether it's a frozen or still stream. But yeah, essentially, next time I come to a crossroad, I'm gonna throw this stick at it. Let's test the legend, make sure there's no fairies at work. Some just, a rabbit running around over there. All right, still a path. All right, here's a little crossroads. That is indeed still solid. So as I conclude this, trust me, the irony is not lost on me that I'm a grown man wandering through the woods, whistling, throwing sticks at the ground, and I guess wearing red, which that one's pretty normal.
And now, while I can't really test these urban legends very easily, I thought I would go through a list of other hiking superstitions, just as a bit of a bonus here. One of these additional legends is that while you're hiking, you have to keep your fear in check. This basically states the same thing as that old adage about the fear of the dog actually being what bites you. In short, if you're scared in the woods will be scary. Basically, it implies that if there's creatures, whether they be mystical or well-known, they can kind of sense your emotions, and if you're scared and imagining horrible things, these horrible things might just happen to you. Next up, they say don't walk up random stairs in the woods. Now, this one I can't really test necessarily because I don't know where I could find random stairs in the woods, and part of finding random stairs in the woods is finding ones that you didn't know existed. But as the story goes, if you're hiking through the woods and you come across some stairs that are randomly placed, you might find that if you walk up them, they transport you to a seemingly foreign place. It might look the same as the place you came from, but it won't be, and you'll soon realize that. And this sort of runs along the same lines as keeping rocks in your pocket, with fairies getting you lost if you go up these stairs, or some variation of this. And the final hiking superstition I found was that you shouldn't follow the sounds of a crying baby in the woods at night. Now, first off, imagine how scary this would be. You're walking through the woods alone, and suddenly you hear what sounds to be a child, far from where any child should be, especially alone and crying. Now, this urban legend is scary, but not for the reasons you might think. It's scary because if you hear a child or something that sounds like one, it's probably actually a big cat lurking in the woods that's decided to eat you or something else. Listen to this cougar noise, for instance. So yeah, in short, if you hear that, I'm no expert, but I'd say make yourself as big as possible and throw things in its direction and hopefully see how things go. Hopefully things go well for you in that situation, or hopefully you just don't get into that situation in the first place. But don't try running, it's faster than you. Pretty scary though. So anyways, this was my go at a different type of video. If you liked it, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It'll never cost you a dime, and it lets YouTube know that this channel is worth watching. Again, just another shout out to Kyle Hates Hiking for keeping me going through my through hike training and sort of inspiring me to make this different kind of video. If it does well, maybe I'll make more videos about things other than folklore, or maybe just hiking adjacent folklore or history that I'm personally interested in, but who knows, we'll see how this video does. Anyways, this has been Forever Storytime. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't you ever forget, it's always story time.